Hey guys, how's it going? Live stream number 7 here. I got a little bit of different stuff to show off today. Been kind of a crazy week for me so far, and scrambling just last minute to even go live. I did get a new camera in today, which is what we're actually running on right now. I don't have all my settings and everything figured out, but I wanted to at least give it a shot for using it in the, my studio here, even though that's not its true purpose. It's for filming outside, so we'll see how that goes. I know it looks like it's a little bit of a slower frames per second. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. I have it set at 60, but it looks like it's a little bit slow. It was even lagging on my audio. I had to offset it by like 200 milliseconds. John M, is your pup a good boy? Girl, actually. Her name's Lola. She's a good girl. Hey, Wyatt. Lola's doing okay. She's drugged up right now. Has another part of the crazy week. She's had an injured foot for almost 10 days now. First week or so, I thought we were, resting it well, and didn't seem like it was acting up. But then it, the injury came back, and so she had a procedure done on her foot yesterday, and just, she's all bandaged up and super drugged up right now. But she's doing okay. She'll be all right. Free finger, it is a bit sloppy, but great quality. Yeah, the quality's pretty high, but that's frame loss is a little bit weird, so I might have to mess with changing from USB to going back to my capture card. It was just more than I had time to play with. It's a whole bunch of new tech I've got, so Chris, cheers. Video and sound seemed great to me. I appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, I'll have to work on it. We'll see what we can get, but I don't know. I thought I'd play with it at least a little bit today, so when the camera first came in this week, I asked Brandon if he'd run out to one of the field we go test in and just come up with something to shoot and, start getting used to the new camera. What's up, old guy? Good evening. With the right wrist injury that I've been dealing with for a few weeks now, I've been throwing left-handed. The first time I threw left-handed with any seriousness was around February or March. That's when I really set off my right wrist, and I put in 2 field sessions then trying to throw left-handed, working on standstills, and then it was too hard. I was getting too sore trying to throw left hand, so I gave up on it and waited till my right wrist healed. And then, now that I'm dealing with the wrist issues again, I've decided to try left-handed again. I've gone out on 3 rounds, actually. I played 2 full rounds, and then about a third round was about half of a round. So 2 field sessions, 2.5 rounds of left-handed, and then with the camera out in the field the other day, I threw a little bit more left-handed. And so not a whole lot of lefty work, but it's been an interesting mind game to me because I feel like I know technique pretty well. I've watched tons of video of other people throwing, and I'm constantly trying to improve my own form, right hand, backhand especially. I do throw forehand quite a bit too, but really backhand is what I've been working on. And so I feel like I'm armed with all of the knowledge to have really good technique, but right-handed I have like all of these ingrained, these processes that I've been doing, this muscle memory for years and years. And left hand, I'm starting from scratch because I feel like super awkward. I just don't have coordination and whatnot. So it's interesting to feel very clumsy and uncoordinated left hand, but know what good technique should be. And so I recorded, with Brandon's help, lefty throws and righty throws, and then I stacked them in right next to each other so I could look at the difference, and I was actually really surprised at the difference between the two. Damn, sorry to hear about the injury. Gout to shoulder impingement. Oh man, I watched your video on gout. That looked rough. I didn't know you had shoulder impingement though. Thinking about switching to righty. Yeah, I mean it is a total reset for like what your expectations are. I mean, I just enjoy being out on the course and throwing, and if you can enjoy the most basic things and give yourself one extra shot per hole or something, it's still a challenge, and it's fun to see yourself progress, even if it's in a little bit of a frustrating way that you can't keep up with what you used to be able to do. But I thought when I started taking the video of my left-handed form, I thought for sure that my left-handed form would just be super sloppy in comparison to the right. And I don't think that's the case. Watching this, I haven't looked at it a whole lot. I was kind of waiting for start up the stream to go over it. But what I did when I was out in this field was I threw left-handed first, which is what we see on the left side of the screen. And I threw 4 discs that way. 2 putters, a mid-range, and then a fairway driver. I went with a Fierce, a Luna, a Crystal Fierce, a Tour Series Luna, a D-Line MD4, and then I threw, I think it's a Sparkle C-Line FD was the 4th one. And then we went out and measured distances for where all those landed, and I tried to, after picking them up and then throwing right hand going back, I tried to throw about the same distance. Whatever the furthest left hand shot, which is around 215 feet, something like that. I tried to match that distance coming back. And then the right-handed throws ended up being around 220 to 230 mostly. They were slightly longer, but pretty close. And when I've been throwing left-handed, I've been going standstill only. So that's what I made myself do right-handed as well. Now I have a lot more juice in my standstill right hand than what I was using here. But again, I was trying to match distance. So it wasn't like, I don't know, I think many of us have been like, okay, I can throw 350 feet, for example, and then I go watch a video of someone's form that can throw 550 feet. I'm like, well, of course, that's hugely different, but it's hard to then, like, even if you make dramatic change in your form, you're not going to immediately see a huge distance change because timing and everything is going to be off. So what I was trying to do is look at similar distance throw and what was going to be wrong with my left hand, with my left-handed form. And I think I actually stumbled upon stuff that's wrong with my right-handed form more than what's wrong with my left-handed form. And you can see it show off right here where I've frozen this frame. On my right-handed form, one thing that's bugged me about the way that I throw, and I really don't think it's correct, is that when I'm pulling the disc into the power pocket, I tend to lead with my head. You can see I've got my head leaning down towards my shoulder, and I think that that's incorrect. It's inefficient. If I look at um, dudes that can throw a whole lot further than me. When they're pulling through, their head tends to be straight up and down, which is much closer to what I'm getting left-handed. Like it may not look like a huge difference, but especially if you go from like my crotch and draw a line straight up, look how much of my weight on the right-handed form is in front of that center line compared to if I do the same thing on the left-handed. Look at that. The weight is dead center on my chest. Like, yeah, my head and neck is still a little bit ahead, but my chest is like dead center. And if you're trying to accelerate your upper body at the maximum amount, which is all going to play into your arm and affect the speed coming through, then you want to be very centered. Like if you have even weight on both sides of that center line, you can rotate faster. If you have a whole bunch of weight on one side, then you still might be building a whole bunch of momentum and have leverage, but it's not going to be as quick twitch. And that's really important. Like I can still, Brandon was out there running the speed gun, so I put mile per hour on these for each of these throws. And in this one, for example, the right-handed throw was faster. It was at 44 instead of 37. I'll just play this. So what I've done is I've got it at full speed, and I've got it at about half speed. That's what it looks like at full speed, and then here's half speed for throwing a putter. They're super close. Like I'm surprised that there wasn't a bigger difference between my right and left. Nathan says, yeah, your bracing looks a lot better left-handed. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you mean there. If we are looking at feet, one of the things that I noticed, and of course we weren't able to like exactly replicate the same angle, so it looks a little bit funky, but on my right-handed form, on the right side, my front foot is further to the left, if that makes sense, which is like known to be correct. That's setting your hips up in a more backwards, more closed position and giving you the potential to move your hips even further compared to my left-handed form where that back foot is in the opposite direction. So if we look at where like my back hip is on left-handed, that looks worse than it does on right hand. This like rearward facing hip orientation is superior. But even though left-handed, that the direction my hips are starting isn't great, right when I'm getting into the point that I start pulling through the power pocket, right there, that frame jump on the left-handed throw, you can see the hip start to round the corner. So my hips are moving before my arm is moving, which is definitely what you want if you're trying to accelerate at maximum. I guess I mean in terms of keeping your weight vertical versus that head lean. Ryan Saki, I followed you on Insta. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that. I haven't posted a whole lot on Instagram, but I kind of fired it up and have plans to. I definitely would like to start cranking out some more pictures there. I appreciate the follow. Yeah, Nathan, I totally follow you with the whole lean thing. My forward-facing knee does a little bit of funky stuff too, but when I am throwing, like if I have to describe, and not necessarily in a 44 mile per hour standstill backhand, but if I'm like trying to crush a backhand, and especially going back like maybe 2 seasons, if I had to describe where I felt like I was getting the most power from, it would be the back of my shoulder, and then muscles coming down my back. which I think really shows off in the frame that we're looking at right now, where just, starting to pull into the power pocket with left hand, I'm starting with my hips because I know that's correct. I know I should be starting with my hips, and I have like very little, it feels like so much less coordination left-handed. However, on my right-handed form, the hips are just kind of forgotten, and I'm leading with my head and shoulder, like preloading and stretching that, which I know isn't great. Ryan, you've got 1,600 followers on your Insta disc account and want to make a YouTube soon? Awesome. What kind of content do you think you would do on YouTube? I'm sure you'll pop up. It'll show on my Instagram thing. I'll check out your feed and see what you got going on. So let's skip ahead and watch the next one. So that was that's the second throw, half speed. Those were both fierce. And here's the Luna, which I got up to 42 miles an hour left hand and 48 right. Let's go back and watch that in. Oops, I don't want the slow motion. That takes too long. Planning on doing form videos when I'm a bit more confident with that. Pretty confident with my forehand and putting, but backhand is trash. Way too much rounding, maxed out at 400 forehand, but only like 250 backhand. Oh man, that's awesome. Clearly with 400 forehand, you've got like some fast twitch, you've got, coordination and skill. But 250 backhand, you have like a huge amount of growth there. That would be a really cool journey to document. I know that's not fun, like for me showing footage of my left-handed throws or whatever. It isn't particularly fun, but one thing that's like really missing, and I'm not sure that a whole lot of people have done it. There's like, my journey to 400 or whatever, and it's somebody going from 350 to 400, but to go from like 250 to 400 and be able to document the changes over time, I think there's a huge amount of disc golfers that footage would be super valuable to. Hey, Littlest, how's it going? I'm doing pretty good. Just trying to learn from my own left-handed form here. So I've got a little bit closer to the same orientation on my feet in this one and how they're planted. One thing that I noticed for sure is when I'm throwing right-handed, I'm way more comfortable keeping my head looking forward, especially on like a standstill, whereas left hand, I'm going to miss my reach back really bad. Like I know that I think about the angle of my reach back quite a bit. And like if I'm throwing straight, I know I want my reach back to be straight, and I'll actually focus on a rearward point where I want to reach to. And I really focus on that a lot left hand. If I'm looking forward and just rely on like, swinging back, I'm going to miss the angle pretty bad on that reach back, which if it's like wide, for example, then instead of releasing here, my release is going to be over here. I'm going to grip lock it. So that's what you're seeing right now. So I've matched these lined these up for the frame in which I release. But the timing on reach back and whatnot is totally different. I have such a wide rail looking reach back right hand compared to left. Still on my right-handed form, my hips are more rearward facing. And on my left hand, my hips engage so much faster, like 2 frames back. Right here, my hips start to twist on my left-handed form, and I'm at full reach back. There's hip movement, and I still don't see that on my right-handed form. Your hips are the biggest thing I noticed, 100. Yeah. Timing is everything in disc golf. If I lean forward a split second too fast, my forehand drive goes about 120 feet shorter. Yeah, and timing is so important. And it's, we're looking at form things, and I've got miles per hour up on here, but the reality of the situation is that, like, nose angle is huge. Like, I might have better looking form left hand, but if I don't have angle control on the disc or the ability to repeat the release angle, it's not worth anything if I could throw faster. And even speeds isn't all of it. There's rotation on the disc as well, and that's something I'm not like. If we look at it's all blurry. Was just at 60 frames a second in this recording, but like my wrist tends to be open when I'm in that reach back position instead of like locking closed. If I like Waisaki lock my wrist closed, it totally messes up my throw, but the amount of spin that gets put on the disc is so much higher. That's definitely something that I could work on. As well. Yeah, right there. So that's entering the power pocket. Like when the disc begins to accelerate at the highest. And look at the hip angle again. My hips are leading so much better left hand than they are right. And if we do the center from like crotch up again, like if anything, my weight is slightly towards the back on left hand, but it is way, way forward in my right hand form. Absolutely doth my drives go the furthest when I get a nice clean flick from my wrist, and make sure to be palms up. Yes. Yeah, forehand I really struggle with. I'm definitely stronger backhand, but I've been getting out over, I've been getting some pretty good forehand distance when my wrist is working, at least. Shoulders seem more forward than ideal on left. Shoulders seem more forward than ideal. I'm not sure in relation to what, like to plant foot perhaps. Like my entire upper torso could be further back, like or my foot just could be further forward, a further forward plant. Shoulders compared to hips. Yes, I understand that. I think I'm even worse at that right-handed than I am left-handed. Like if I go hip straight up here, that's just inside of shoulder, hip straight up here. It's close. I'll play it straight through the third throw here, which was a D-line MD, which I got up to 47 miles an hour left hand. Definitely still have my back foot too far towards the inside on my left-hand form. You growing out the flow again? First vid I watched of yours, your review of the Pound Carlton. I had so much hair. Yeah. This curly-headed dude puts on a masterclass. Thanks, man. Yeah, I don't know how much I'm gonna grow it out. Definitely longer than it is now. For that's for sure. We'll see how far it goes. For comprehensive reviews. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I think what might show a bigger difference is if because left-handed here, I'm basically doing max pull, and right-handed, this is a control shot for me for that distance. I thought it would be interesting to try to do it the same distance, but it may be more important, like how much energy I'm trying to put into it. Like I wonder if I compare, my left hand full send versus my right hand full send, which is going to be like a 10 to 15 mile per hour speed difference. But I wonder, for example, if some of those hip things that I'm like talking about for my left-handed form, if that will start happening for my right-handed form when it's like when it's truly full send. I'm not sure. I'll be right back. Hey HK, hi guys. You just got a color glow wraith from your buddy today? Is everyone okay yet? Some of us are okay. Hopefully all of us are okay. An F2 color glow wraith. That sounds sweet. Did they make... So is that a Madison Walker wraith then? Or have they made color glow wraiths other than the Madison Walker runs? I wonder. Martin Hindell? I don't know who that is. Martin Hindell run? Canadian champ? Oh, okay. Google. Yeah, Google, I'm sure would tell me who that is. I got some new discs too. I brought a, whoops. I've actually got a box here from OTB that came in on Monday. And I've just been sitting on it, waiting for you guys, waiting for stream, so I could open some more discs. I know that's one of your favorite things. I've actually got a couple MVP here as well. Hey Brandon, how's it going, man? Seems odd now to not have your heel pivot on the left. Makes sense on the right, as it's more of an upshot distance. So you think on even standstill, you'd see a heel pivot? I don't think heel pivot really comes into play unless you're X-stepping. I'll have to think about that. Oh, HK, no, I'm not too worried about how many people are here or not. You know, I think some people probably definitely come back and watch it as a VOD. And I definitely feel better about putting out like polished, completed videos. But it's hard for me to crank out bag reviews that quick. Like, if I really want to put something out every week or whatever, they're going to be crummy bag reviews. I can't get that much in detail on a bag that quick. And, you know, sometimes I've got other stuff going on, but I'm happy to just come hang out in a stream. And, you know, that makes things a little easier and quick for me sometimes. And I can take my time gathering information on the bags and make sure that I really put out good reviews on those. And discs. And I've got some other ideas for stuff I'm going to put out. So I'm glad you enjoy it, HK. Ryan, favorite disc manufacturer overall? Seems to me that you like Discraft the best. Discraft is just like a kind of the current crush. It'd be hard to pick a favorite right now. I've gone through many. I love trying new things out. I just happen to have a whole bunch of new Discraft right now. What was the original forum question? Well, I was really just curious what I could learn from left versus right. I thought that seeing them side by side, I would realize how crummy my left form was, and then realize it was kind of the opposite. I think my left form is actually better than my right. Littlest, thinking of getting a net for my basement. I thought, what's the best driving net for practice? I've got a Rucket pop-up net. It's like $170. It's pretty nice. It's a little bit of a pain to collapse. Brandon says, there's a follow-through with how much more you get your hips turned in the left-hand throw. More of a natural swing. I think that like all of the information that I've gained over time as to what I think is the correct form to use, I still fail to implement that throwing right-handed because I have just poor, muscle memory of all of the years that I've thrown and the bad habits that I've had in the past. But when I started fresh left-handed, all I was thinking about was those form things, and I had no muscle memory to go on. And I think that's why my left-handed form is better than my right. Proprioception. Is that a real word? There was a tournament here last week in Utah, Disc Golf State Championships, and actually brought out my net so they'd have a net to warm up in out there. And my good buddy Zach was the TD for that tournament. And he hooked me up with a couple discs. So I've got a couple new MVP discs here to show off. Google now, please. I'll Google it. Proprioception. Proprioception. Perception of awareness of the position and movement of the body. Proprioception. Got it. proprioception. Perception of awareness of the position and movement of the body. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're talking about. Oh, you're all good, HK. That was close. You almost nailed it. So one of the things that when I'm checking parting line height or wing curvature or different height and dome, people are always asking if MVP and Axiom have the same variance, and these are waves, MVP waves in the fission plastic, so they're super lightweight. These are 153 grams. Hello? Yeah, 153 and 152 is what they're marked, at least. And Zach had quite a big stack of these, and I went through and on purpose picked the flattest and the most domey one that I could find. And there's a huge difference in dome on these two. I can put them up there and measure them if you guys are curious, but it's pretty big. I don't know if we can see. Yeah, you get a little idea there. The blue one is definitely a whole lot taller than the. Make the focus move. Just comes right back to my face, but the shoulder on the green, yeah, it is. It's a whole lot flatter. I haven't thrown them yet, and I'm not great at throwing super lightweight stuff like that. It definitely messes with my backhand, but maybe I can throw them left-handed. And check them out. And then I had a gift card to OTB that I cashed in. For some more discs to test. I really like the new the Sabertooth. Hello? That Sabertooth stamp that OTB's putting out. So this one on top is I don't know, it's a what is that? Reindeer, an elk, a moose, I don't know. It's smoking. It's got cigarettes in its mouth and 2 baskets. It's a moose. I don't think moose smokes cigarettes, guys. I think you might be wrong. You guys definitely think moose. So you've got 2 of them. These are luster. What do they call it? They don't use the word luster. Chameleon, trespass. These are 2 trespasses. The pink one has a little bit more of a pop top. It's got a little heartbeat to it. 173 grams and 175 on the blue. So I used to throw trespasses. I've thrown them a chunk and then kind of moved on to sheriffs and, ended up going back to destroyers. It's a Canadian stamp. Yeah, I see the maple leaf on top there. I think in a lot of plastics, or in a lot of molds, this chameleon tends to be a little bit more overstable. I've never thrown recoil. I've thrown Raiders before, and I scored a couple of fusion ones. When I was throwing Raiders, they didn't have them in fusion, or biofusion. Yeah, no, I've not tried the recoil. That's very similar to the Raider, isn't it? Well, again, we got one with way more dome. This orange one has a little pop top to it. If I ever think of selling the pink Trespass, you're interested? Okay. Yeah, could be. I'll hit you up. And then the other is D3 Max. I scored a couple D3 Maxes. I'm trying to get my Prodigy on a little bit. I've been hard on Prodigy. It's been really hard for me to want to throw their stuff. Just the flashing, man. I've got a couple M4s that just have crazy flashing. These both actually have some nasty flashing. It's so hard for me to get over. I don't know. Make discs better, Prodigy, and I'll be psyched. The plastic feels great. I just can't. It's so hard to enjoy grabbing a disc that has like massive flashing on it. I really like KJ also. Yep. And Seppo. So we've got pairs with the 3 different pairs that I just got in from OTB, and then also this pair of from MVP. I'm not sure I'll do dome height measurement, but I'll at least throw them over on the other camera and do parting line height. I got all these different logos and stuff on different screens. I'm not very organized. I'll throw these MVP ones up first, and we'll just look at parting line height. Those look super close. Maybe just a touch lower parting line height on the one on the right, which is the flatter one. We'll put these 2 D3s up there next. Prodigy plastic feels great. Glad to see the A3 get some love after the DGPT final. Yeah, if they could figure out their flashing, they could be a legit brand. Whoa, what is that? There's like a line in the wing on both of those. We all know Prodigy plastic is a front for cocaine. You said that, not me. Whoa, what the hell happened? It froze on the It's got the MVP up there. That's the line I was looking at. I thought it was showing me the Prodigy, and I was seeing the line on the MVP still. How did my camera just freak out? What? Hey Todd, how's it going? Flashing is the like this. What's wrong with your computer, bro? I don't know, my camera just froze. My C922. I was messing with it earlier. Maybe I broke it. When the Todd, when the mold comes apart, there's like different metal pieces. There's like one metal piece here and one metal piece here, and where they meet is a seam. And when the plastic is injected and pressurized, a little bit can squeeze through that seam, and it can leave behind a sharp little edge. Like right there, right on the lip, there's a sharp little edge, and that's what I'm calling flashing. You can see it catching some light closer to my pinky. On molds that have like very high tolerances, then plastic isn't going to seep through there. So you get this nice like soft rounded corner, which feels great. And then on molds with really poor tolerances, like Prodigy, you get flashing poking through really bad. West Side is also known for having really bad and sharp flashing. It's a pain in the butt. The leftover of where the mold comes together. Yeah, HK, that's a good description. Wyatt, all my Halo Star TL3 and Halo Star T-Birds had a bunch of flashing, almost unthrowable. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it happens to nearly every brand, I will say. There's just some brands when it happens a lot. Obey, I'm not sure that that's in the rules, actually. Also, Legacy has bad flashing. I've not tried a whole lot of Legacy. I've thrown some cannons and rampages. That's not been a problem for me. Obey is correct. Okay, I believe you. I know that they disallow modifying discs, but there must be an exception written in that rule. So I wonder if they count flashing as like an unintended side effect. So you're not modifying the disc differently than how it was intended to come out. It becomes a little bit more of a gray area if you have like hit something sharp and have like this huge gash with a piece poking off, and you'd kind of like you'd like to rip that piece off that's hanging, but that would be modifying your disc beyond how the disc was intended to be, molded. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll look it up. I'm curious to see exactly what wording they use. It's definitely not the sort of thing that I would ever call anybody out on, but it is interesting to know exactly how the rules are stated. Spirit of the game. Yeah, for sure. Not a fan of the flashing. 813.10B. Oh, 0.01, not 0.1. Yeah, I got you. A disc which has been modified after production such that its original flight characteristics have been altered is illegal. Accepting wear from usage during play and the moderate sanding of disc to smooth molding imperfections or scrapes. Okay. So they actually go beyond saying molding imperfections, but add scrapes in there. So if you get a scrape and want to smooth it, you're okay to do so. Discs excessively sanded or painted with material of detectable thickness are illegal. Yeah, so then they go straight on to saying they use the word excessively. So You know, moderate is okay. Excessively is not. Like, who gets to decide what's the difference between moderate and excessive? I remelt edge hits. I've remelted stuff as well, HK. It works really well sometimes. Of course, I would never use a disc that I had remelted an edge in a sanctioned event, though, so you guys don't have to worry about that. Nobody ever look and call me out on that one. Good to know. Today I learned. I'm smarter because of you guys. Do you know about this? Flattening discs? Yes, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with people flattening discs. I've never messed with it myself, but see if my C922 decided to wake up. No, it's still frozen. I probably have to restart OBS. That's so weird. Maybe I can remove it and add it back in as a new source. Yeah, the image is stuck. I'm still here. It's going to be black for a second. Yeah, no, it's just fried. I literally only have one disc up there right now, but it's showing two. I unplugged it. I unplugged the camera and the image was still frozen there. Brendan, would you recommend the Octo Hall over the Octo Thorpe even if I don't currently bag enough discs to fill it? Yes. Yeah, HK, I did unplug it. It's still, the screen remained frozen. So I think I'd have to restart Streamlabs OBS. Brendan, yeah, I think that the extra side storage in the Octo Hall is totally a winner. Like if you're just picking between the Thorpe and the Hall and you're not worried about the price difference, there's no reason to get the Octo Thorpe in my opinion. I think the Octo Hall is totally better. But if you're not sure that you're ever going to carry enough discs to fill that, then there's I'm sure, as you've looked at other bags with smaller capacity. The Ridge is the first one that comes to mind. Ryan, I do have a pound toolbox, but no, I haven't reviewed it. I kind of had thoughts of doing a rundown of all those different, fieldwork style bags from different manufacturers. I've got a Prodigy, one from Prodigy, and then I've got the toolbox from Pound, and I kind of just never got around to it. It is really nice. It's got a really nice finish on it. I do like the toolbox. A little bit hard to justify the price. Oh man, my mini tree fell over. Down there, I didn't know that all my mini markers toppled. That's unacceptable. I'll have to restack those. So I got some new microphones in this week as well. A couple of wireless lav mics. An ex-cat owner? No. When I was young, like a kid living with my parents, we had cats. Tell us your dark story of the rack. You use the toolbox more than your Carlton? Do you actually play rounds with your toolbox? Are you just carrying it like a grocery bag or something, a briefcase? I usually play fast practice rounds, and the toolbox is really nice for that. Have you guys heard of... I forget what it's called. Let me look at my search history. Oh, I think I remember. This guy messaged me. The disc caddy. This guy wrote a message in one of my recent videos. Miss Putz, hey, how's it going? HK, did you make that stand with the Blue Ranger on top? No, this custom stand behind me was made by my buddy Zach. He's done a bunch of custom disc racks like that. I've got a couple of his other pieces in my house, actually, or my apartment. It's super well done. Speaking of quick practice rounds where you don't want to put anything, you don't want to put your bag down, maybe the disc caddy is something you ought to try out. Kavu rice hat. It probably is Kavu, isn't it? That looks like their pattern on the headband. Warcroft disc raider. Yeah. I think I could rock these. He asked if I'd review them. I emailed him back, or sent him an email about it, but I haven't heard back from him, so I don't know if he's going to send me any or not. I asked for 2 because I'm not sure that I would go out on a course and just do that myself. I'd need the moral support of, a partner. So I have to convince another friend to go out and wear those with me. But these guys look like they're having fun, right? Like, I don't know. I think we should totally do it. It looks like a worthwhile endeavor to me. We should all go disc caddying. One of the guys I noticed, where was it at? There's pictures. Oh, I think if I click buy it now, then there's more pictures. Yeah, like a couple of these guys don't have the leg straps on. I'm just hoping you put your Patreon money toward Escape from Tarkov, Edge of Darkness. I've already got EOD, actually. Yeah, Miss Putz, I started off the stream with the discussion of lefty versus righty. Really what it comes down to is that I think my left-handed form is better than my right. Whoops. I thought I still had it up. Here it is. Mostly because I engage my hips better on the left. I'll just pick one frame. I'll show you one frame. Okay, maybe it's those couple frames right there. And my lefty form, which is on the left, you can see how quick my hip is coming around before the disc even gets into the power pocket. My back hip is like pulling the corner. And then when I get into the power pocket or leading right into it, my weight is centered so much more. If I like go crotch and then pull straight up, it's like center of my chest. So I'm like very straight up and down, even though my head's leaning forward. And then my right-handed form, if I do the same thing, crotch come up, my weight is way further forward. I'm totally leading with my head. Ryan, have you ever been tempted to quit your day job and be a touring pro? Not a pro, maybe like a touring am. Yeah, I've definitely thought of. I just like to take a month or two off and go travel and play tournaments for a season. I think that would be awesome. Littlest, I did stream on Twitch under the same name. You can go find VODs of me playing EFT. That's how like a lot of this gear got started was from me streaming on Twitch. I'm left-handed but throw righty because of how my feet are facing from regular golf and baseball. Huh. Is this an elaborate attempt to find your own spawning mate? You are the left-hand Drew Gibson. Is that Lagoon in the background? No, not Lagoon. This is some, well, I don't know what it was called. It's some abandoned thing on 17th South, and I'm not sure how far west in Salt Lake. It's an abandoned water park. I'm 6 feet tall. Nathan, yeah, I haven't put a whole lot of work into it. Just a few field work and a few rounds played. I wouldn't actually recommend the Kavu rice hat. The open cell foam they use inside the fabric shrinks in the sun and it warps the structure. Oh, that sounds horrible, Drew. Thanks for the insight. If you keep your head neutral, yeah, spine straight, I think there's definitely an advantage there. If you're more straight up and down, you can definitely spin faster. You'll see in a lot of if you look back at a lot of pro form as they're pulling through, their head is actually down and they're very straight up and down versus what you see me doing, and I'm like leaning and pulling with my head and my shoulder and back muscles. A whole lot on my right hand, and then not nearly as much when I'm throwing left-handed. Yeah, I think the foot orientation is superior on my right-handed form rather than left. Ryan, you want a lefty vlog? Yeah, I could do that with the new mics that just came in today. I can make that happen. I'm not saying I will, but I could. I do have some on the course stuff planned. looking forward to on the course stuff. Yeah, me too. Might take some time to get all the kinks figured out, but working with a new camera and new mics, and I've got a lot to learn to make sure I'm on top of the tech. So we will get something out new soon, though. Well, I think that's all I've got for you guys. I was going to throw all these up on the second camera, but it is not playing nice tonight. So, Ryan, I can give you a shout out on my Insta if you want to try and grow yours at some point. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I may hit you up. If I get to the point where I'm actually putting content up on there regularly, then yeah, that could be great. Thanks, Wyatt. Yeah, have a good evening. Thanks for stopping by. I may do a something this weekend. Kind of a crazy week again, so I don't have just specific plans for short-term future in the next week or two, but I'll hopefully have a real video out for you guys soon. So appreciate everybody stopping by the stream tonight. Peace out. Night. Yep, Ryan, Littlest. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. HK. Brendan, would you consider making an in the bag? Yeah, I've had a few people ask me for that. It's definitely on the short list. That's actually a great one that I could crank out this weekend, no problem. I had the idea to do 2 versions of in the bag, just kind of like a straight tournament round, what I would normally carry, kind of going in blind to a course, and then also maybe doing a little bit more of an in-depth one where instead of just showing what I'm currently carrying in a slot, I can show all the different things that I've tried for that slot over time and kind of how that's evolved and how I've changed from one brand to the next, and what I think the different advantages are of throwing a buzz versus a compass versus a rock, for example. So yeah, I definitely possibly will have that out soon. It is on the short list. Yeah, maybe this weekend I'll sit down and record that one. Not just sure, but yeah, I appreciate the request. So, all right, have a good night, everybody.